You're listening to The Front Porch Show. Some shows are niche shows, talking about specific topics. Others, shows about nothing. This show is the show about everything. On The Front Porch Show, we'll talk about current events, some news, a little bit of politics, along with a whole lot of life. Welcome to our Front Porch. Welcome back to another episode of The Front Porch Show. 1-402-799-1811 is our message line number. Call it anytime, 24/7, and leave us a cute little message, because you can.
We'll be happy to listen to your message, but Aaron does not pick up the phone after like 9 at night.
You never know. I might. And then I might tell you to call back and call again.
Yes.
I mean, you just never know. It could happen. It might
or
not.
He might text you at like midnight. So you never know.
So we are all three here today, which is wonderful.
Text. Shut off your text.
Yeah, Jeff.
Actually, I have our group chat silenced so that it doesn't.
That's why he never responds and why he doesn't know when we're.
Pretty much.
I have put you guys on silent, but not often, and only if the conversation goes past like 11 o'clock at night, because that's my bedtime. So
I'm here 24/7 for you two.
I appreciate that. I was just mentioning how nice it is that all three of us are here today, even though Jeff, so you missed your Avengers Endgame showing. So yes. I'm not going to try and go see it probably ever. I will probably never see it unless somebody really wants me to go see it.
No. Tombstone doesn't watch movies.
That's true.
So
did it not used to be this way? It did not. I've only seen, I've only seen a handful of movies in the theater in the last like 4 years. I've seen End of Watch. I've seen Fury. I've seen the two Nolan movies, Dunkirk and Interstellar. And that's pretty much it. I've seen like two other ones.
Man, and Dunkirk was snooze. It was interesting. It was interesting, but it was slow for me. It was real slow for me.
I guess because I knew it was a Nolan movie, I was very attuned to the different tricks he was playing, and that helped me pay attention and enjoy the movie. I can see how someone would think it was slow.
And I will admit it took me a little while to figure out it was flashbacks.
It's like the prestige of war movies, which is maybe not the best way to do a war movie.
Is Dunkirk on video yet? Like, is it on?
It's been out.
That's how I watched it. Yeah, that's how I watched it.
So we hardly get, with two kids, we hardly get to the theater, right?
Right.
But same. I have the home theater set up, and so. Or 7.1 surround sound with a 65-inch.
I saw both Dunkirk and Interstellar in the IMAX in Simpsonville, and it was totally worth the extra $4 or $5.
That would be pretty sweet.
So it's for me. It's a lot less about the widescreen. The widescreen is nice. It's more about the sound system, especially for Interstellar. The soundtrack. I saw it in the theater twice, and both times was excellent.
Doesn't go to movies, but sees Interstellar twice.
I did. I saw Dunkirk twice too.
but he's not ever going to watch Endgame.
I saw True Grit in the theater 3 times because
True Grit was a decent movie, but I only saw it once.
Oh my
word! So
he has an eclectic taste in movies. So
Avengers is slated to make $1 billion this weekend globally.
All right,
I believe it. I totally believe it.
Can I put a pin in that just a second for me?
Yeah.
So I think the last Avengers movie I saw. So I think I quit watching Marvel movies in like 2013. I saw the first Thor movie. I think I slept through the second Thor movie. And I don't think I've seen anything. What was the Avengers movie after that? I don't even remember.
You haven't seen any of the Captain Americas?
I saw Captain America.
22 movies.
I saw Winter Soldier, but I don't think I saw Civil War.
Guardians of the Galaxy, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Avengers.
Guardians of the Galaxies are great.
Okay, I have to walk back my culture vulture status here. I saw both of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies in the theater, and they were hilarious.
Yes, they're very good.
Doctor Strange, Captain America, Civil War.
I actually haven't seen Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange was excellent.
I heard it was good. I haven't seen Black
Panther was decent. Spider-Man Homecoming was good.
Nope. How many have you seen, Aaron? How many of
I've seen every single one of them.
So
I've seen them all but Doctor Strange and Spider-Man Homecoming.
Aaron, explain this for me. Why are you attracted to these movies?
So I honestly wasn't at first. But my thing is this. How do they describe that? I don't like. Is it? How do they separate out the fantasy realms? They like when it comes to fiction. No. When it comes to fiction,
willing suspension of disbelief.
No. Like when it comes to fiction, there's certain levels of fantasy, and so I don't mind the fantasy and stuff that involves us here on Earth, but I can't get into Harry Potter or stuff like that.
You wouldn't be into Lord of the Rings as much.
No. So I don't like Lord of the Rings at all, which is interesting.
That is interesting.
But I absolutely love.
You're just baffling the Marvel movies. You should know that.
And I think the Marvel movies, though, it's the heroes. It's the joy of the hero. It's just all that, you know.
Yeah.
It's that superhero stuff that I just the justice is being served, and honestly, through the whole line of movies, there has been, you know, a libertarian slant to a lot of them. You know, maximum freedom and yeah, I absolutely love it. And so I wouldn't say I'm a diehard fan because I've only seen them. I've seen every single one of them, but I've only seen them like 2 or 3 times each.
I don't know. For a man who claims to not be a diehard fan, you're acting awfully suspicious.
No. Okay, so I went the other night to see Endgame. I won't give any spoilers away.
Oh, you did?
I'm telling you right now.
I saw it Thursday night. I will not. I promise.
As you guys mentioned in the last episode, which I did listen to, I was in your backyard for work reasons.
You were
last week, Mathis. And if you give anything away right now,
you'll come find me and hunt me down.
I will call a guy, and that tungsten rod that's in that satellite over your house will be dropped.
It's just sitting there.
By the way, you can still see Captain Marvel at the Hollywood 20 on Woodruff Road. For those of you in Greenville, you can still watch it.
I've heard
you could
that
do
one's
both on the same day.
It's good.
I've heard that one's not. You don't have to see it to.
So it's a prequel. So. It's a prequel, right? And so, how do I not give any of this away? Okay, so I'm not going to give any of it away.
On the button.
She appears. She appears in Endgame. But she's an equal member of the team in Endgame. So you kind of need to see it, but you don't have to. It's not like a huge integral part.
I have heard that. How do I say this? So another show that I listen to, they do all kinds of things. They do culture, they do religion, they do politics. But they like to talk movies. They're kind of nerds like us, but their take is that Endgame will very most likely be the last watchable Marvel movie for anyone with conservative political leanings, because basically after they've gone along and stuck with it and kept them kind of apolitical, just good for now to keep the whole fan base, but they're basically ready to go all in hardcore lefty once they're done with the
not to disagree, but what's the axis of this pronouncement?
I'm trying to remember now because it was a while back when I heard that. A lot of it was with the way they were
quoting other podcasts indiscriminately on this show, Jeff.
The way they were, it's not
a bridge too far.
It's a full-on show.
Right.
Obviously, Captain Marvel, there was, it wasn't as bad. Mathis, you've seen it. Again, I haven't seen it yet. Yeah. There was a lot of freak out leading up to that because the way that they were doing all the lead up to it,
completely unmerited, by the way.
Yeah. So see, that kind of crap happens. But
everyone was like, "Oh, Captain Marvel, it's going to be some super feminist movie," and I was like,
"I forget the exact kind of source they had for it, but they laid out a pretty logical. They've been basically holding back, but now they're going to go and cash in full on left."
I mean, I thought this was the last movie.
No, so this is the end of Phase 3. There's several more.
Oh my goodness!
So
my goodness.
This is like the end of this book, though. This is the end of this book.
You know what the most depressing thing I've read in the last 5 years? There will be a Star Wars movie every year until you die. How sad is that?
You don't want
at some point you have to finish.
You don't want to get me going on Star Wars because I thought the Last Jedi and Solo absolutely stunk.
I liked Solo.
Did you like Rogue One?
It was okay.
I really enjoyed Rogue One. I thought it was a solid. I thought it was a very solid war movie that happened to be set in the Star Wars universe.
Have you seen
It was
Solo?
much truer.
Tombstone?
Which one? I haven't seen Solo.
Have you seen Solo? I enjoyed it. I actually enjoyed it.
My issue with Solo was that they tried too hard to make him the frat boy jerk, and that's not Solo.
They made him the good guy.
Yeah, no.
They made him the good guy that wants to be the bad guy. That's literally what they made him. They made him more of a good guy than really. I
didn't like his attitude. I didn't like his attitude. His attitude sucked.
His attitude sucked in the first 45 minutes of A True Hope.
He was a young, homeless street punk.
It's A New Hope.
Who was trying to be a cool
What
guy.
did I say?
You said A True Hope.
Oh my gosh.
That's a little weird, man.
Oh man, that is weird. But
you know what I meant.
No, like
I know what I meant.
Like I did not think the acting was true to the original. I did not think he was like the actor was true to to Harrison Ford. Like I didn't feel it. I did not feel it. I couldn't see the connection. A lot of movies you go back and you do stuff like that. You do a prequel like that, and you can actually see the connection.
I could feel the connection. I thought the guy that played Lando did great. I thought the Lando was awesome.
Y'all, this is like
Lando was
the most legendary nerd fight I've heard in a very long time.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yes.
So
I'm not going to say Solo was the most epic movie ever.
I'm kind of impressed because I did not pick either one of you. I didn't pick either one of you to have really super strong opinions about the Star Wars universe. My mind is completely blown.
The only legitimate movies, Tombstone, are 4, 5, and 6.
You don't even know the numbers. You don't
4,
even know
5,
the numbers.
and 6.
Oh my gosh.
I was trying to translate it from Roman numerals.
You guys don't even have glasses to push up on your noses.
No, like the 3 that they did, in the 90s and 2000s.
We all know
terrible.
that the early 2000 reboots, 1, 2, and 3. We all know that those.
I
were
actually
terrible.
liked. I actually liked the Phantom Menace.
I honestly wish they would remake 1,
There's
2, and
always a
3
bigger
now.
Yes.
Just to like redo it.
But you do remakes of remakes.
So my buddy Scott is the actual Marvel nerd. Okay, like he knows everything Marvel. You ask him. He did a synopsis of Captain Marvel that was the best synopsis of a movie I've ever seen.
Are you going to inflict it upon us?
I can send it to you guys later.
Yeah, why don't you send it to me?
Because it's really good.
Send it to me so I can ignore it in my inbox.
Okay.
Like
just like everything else I send you. Anyways, so his point, and I get maybe it was Reese, maybe it was my other friend Reese. They both kind of had the point that the issue with Star Wars was that these ones that they're making now, they don't actually have a story arc. There's no overarching story arc that they have to accomplish.
Right. And that goes back to the endless commodification of Star Wars.
Yeah.
They will keep making them until we're all dead.
So I think that was the beauty behind the Marvel movies, was that there was an overarching, story.
That they were all in the same universe, and because of Avengers, all the universes had to tie together at some point.
Yes.
And see, they didn't necessarily have to, because look at what Marvel did. Like, see, Marvel, they've done a great job with the Avengers storyline of weaving. I'm not a comic book guy, so I can't speak to how true they are to whatever. But they've done a great job of weaving those universes together in the Avengers storyline.
Yeah.
Think back to the X-Men. I liked the X-Men movies, but they did a terrible job with the storylines.
I'd agree
on those movies. Literally the only like one thing you could always count on is that Hugh Jackman was going to be Wolverine, and other than that, the storyline was all over the place. One time the one who's supposedly his brother or whatever is Liev Schreiber, but then another time it's some other person, and it's just they did not do a good job tying those universes together as well.
No, I agree, and same with DC, same with the DC movies. DC's trying to tie them together, and I'm like, I just can't do it. I can't follow the movies. I just don't like them. It's just not good. And so I'm like,
once the Dark Knight Batmans, like once Christian Bale Batmans are over, I haven't seen the new Batman.
Oh yeah, no,
and I can't do it.
No,
Batfleck.
The only DC movie I've liked, I think, is Wonder Woman.
Yeah, okay.
I thought Wonder Woman was
excellent, and
I thought it was a good movie.
I watched that on Thursday with the kids before
But
I went to see
I
Endgame.
was talking with my cousin, and I realized I didn't even realize that Wonder Woman was not part of the Marvel comic universe because
it felt like it was more of a Marvel movie. It felt better than the DC stuff.
Even though at the
been.
beginning of the movie it has in big letters DC at the beginning.
Yes, yeah,
who can keep track?
Tombstone
Don't answer
Troubles.
that.
Tombstone.
I can't. I did not grow up with any of this
6
stuff.
p.m.
I didn't grow up with any of this stuff.
Probably after 6
p.m.
part of my. So Tombstone was probably already asleep.
So yeah, I didn't grow up with any of the comic books. I didn't grow up with any of the superheroes. I just didn't. It was Sesame Street and whatever else.
Oscar the Grouch is my superhero.
Hey
so
man, no diss an electric company. Where Morgan Freeman got a start, man.
Oh man.
I mean,
we have gone all over the place and done nothing productive in this opening segment.
Guys, we were supposed to talk about how being in a relationship makes us fat, but I guess we're gonna have to talk about that when we come back.
Well, yeah, we'll talk about that when we come back.
Now, some of you might think I've been busy writing my memoirs. I'm not concerned about my memoirs. I'm concerned about my resume. Here's what I've got so far. Career objective, to stay president. But being realistic, I would consider an executive position with another country. Of course, I'd prefer to stay within the G8. I've been getting a lot of tips on how to write it, mostly from my staff. They really seem to be up on this stuff. They tell me I have to use the active voice with a resume. You know, things like commanded U.S. Armed Forces, ordered airstrikes, served 3 terms as president. Everybody embellishes a little. Designed, built, and painted bridge to 21st century. Supervised vice president's invention of the internet.
That's my favorite one. Supervised vice president's invention of the internet. That's my favorite one.
That's the best.
I thought that intro Tombstone would go with your current situation with someone burning stuff outside your house. Because, Clinton has a history with cigars.
Just stop.
That was a rough parallel.
I'm just saying.
You're fired.
The parallel.
Who made you boss of this show?
Honestly, I honestly don't have a clue. Who in their right mind would have done that?
Alyssa is your boss, so I assume
nobody in their right mind did because you made the show. So
That's right. So there you go, guys. I got to ask you a personal question here.
Ask me. We're no strangers to personal questions.
No, we're not. We talk about personal questions all the time. You guys gained weight since you got married?
Affirmative.
Affirm. Now, are we going to compare numbers?
Oh, I don't even know my numbers, to be honest with you.
I don't know the numbers.
I know the number. I know exactly what the numbers are because I know exactly what I weighed the week I got married.
So I probably
because I hate myself so much.
Tombstone's like a girl. He weighs himself like every hour.
I probably gained 20 pounds since we got married.
I think for me it's closer to 40. I think I was about 35. I think I was about 265 when I got married. Now I'm about 300. Just terrible. So the crazy thing is Tombstone. Wait. You can't let Jeff off the hook.
I know. But Tombstone and I are about the same weight right now.
Probably in the middle. You got probably 35. I don't know, 30, 35.
So I credit mine to start to losing weight because I was bigger and I lost more weight.
Wait, you guys are the same way. Tombstone's got that height on us, so he doesn't ever look as fat as he says.
No, I don't.
Which is not
But I
fair.
feel it. I feel fat.
No, dude, 25, 40 pounds, that adds a lot. And it makes hiking a little challenging.
Yeah,
I'm telling
it does.
You. So scientists claim that being in a happy relationship makes you fat.
I'm buying it. I would buy that. Like if that was the stock in the stock market, I would buy all of it.
Yeah, that's because you think it's
funny.
Like food and you just want to eat it.
Yeah, because other studies had said that happy relationships made you healthier.
So yeah, that is an interesting. It is interesting.
I think there's probably a spectrum on that, right? Like if you're in a really unhealthy relationship, then you might be eating, you might be stress eating. But if you're in a genuinely happy relationship where you don't feel like you're in some kind of sexual competition with the world at large, then you don't mind putting on a few extra pounds.
that kind of seems to be their claim. They basically say that when you get married, you basically, if you're in a happy relationship, then you don't have that desire to attract a new mate at that
you
point.
basically take yourself off the market
where you're at, and so then you are just like, we're stuck together. So then you just eat.
And like when Carissa and I got married, I mean, she started making me like cookies all the time, biscuits and gravy. Like I was spoiled rotten for a while there. So that's part of it. And we also were spending a lot more time at home. So because #newlyweds, so we weren't doing as much.
No, you were
right.
Hey, moving on. So guys, we on the Front Porch Show are advocates of a happy marital relationship.
I think this
regardless of how
fat
like
you are. Try to sneak one of those into every episode at least.
I do.
At least one awkward.
No, I like to encourage married couples.
I think this passes the common sense test, though. Wouldn't you guys say?
I think so too.
Yeah. So
I think it just makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, like if I had got married and my wife started trying to thin me out, I would not have been very happy at all.
My wife's tried a couple times.
That's
hasn't worked.
That's like the other, because your wife's making you healthy, you're now not in a happy relationship.
Exactly.
So then you're thin. Like that's the backwards way.
It's like a reverse cycle,
incentive. I think.
Exactly.
I don't know, but
the problem is though, like sometimes. So I've insisted to Alyssa that she not make the cookies and stuff. So she hasn't been, which is awesome. The problem is all the other stuff she makes is excellent. Like,
it's better for your health, but it's not awesome. Cookies all the time is awesome. Let's just be honest here.
But then you look at the mirror and you hate yourself.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So then you go eat some more cookies.
You just feel it, and you're like, oh, I feel
no,
like
you can't do
garbage.
that. You can't get into a recursive cookie loop.
Yes, that's circular reasoning, Jeff.
Sometimes
Yes, that's.
I mean,
beautiful.
I've been there. It's just a really bad place to be. I feel terrible for myself.
We sound like
time
a bunch
to fill
of
my
30-year-old
face
women.
with chocolate. I know.
Oh my goodness.
No offense. We're gonna get in trouble for that one probably. Send all that to Tombstone.
Well, when I was in my yoga class this morning.
That I'm glad I don't.
I'm just kidding, guys.
Mathis and yoga.
Aaron,
pants.
I would pay money to see you in yoga class. I almost said see you in yoga pants. That's a whole different conversation.
Tombstone.
Well, he's going to be wearing the pants in class.
Yeah.
So Mathis,
so seriously, I've actually thought about taking up yoga.
You know they actually do tactical yoga, right?
Yes, but I don't
like there is yoga geared toward men.
Yes.
Yeah, you have to put on your 511 vest with a little.
You have to be wearing 511 pants.
511 actually does make like ruggedized yoga pants, but they're for women, not for men. They also make different kind of stretchy pants for men.
It's 2019. You can wear whatever you
want. Can I go on a radical tangent here?
I've noticed that
before your tangent,
I'm not as flexible as I was in college. And Jeff remembers how flexible I was in college.
I do not even know.
I do not even want to know what you're talking about.
I don't even.
You don't remember Jeff looking in my bed and I'd be like upside down with my feet over my head?
I don't remember any of that.
Yeah,
to what purpose?
Oh, just because I was stretching. I was just, flexing.
He was weird. He had the bottom of the triple bunk and would roll out onto the floor every morning. I would remember that.
I'd roll out on the bottom of the floor. I'd do
roll.
three push-ups.
It was
and
more
then I'd be
like
ready to roll.
Tumble out and like not look flexible at all. So
I was a flexible fat man, Jeff. Flexible fat man.
You know what my brother-in-law says? It's better to be fat and fit than lean and lazy.
That is true.
It's true.
You know how many basement dwellers?
Yeah, that's totally where we're at right now.
You know how many basement dwellers are just fat? Just saying.
All right.
So okay. My tangent. Real quick.
Before your tangent, because this applies. So a couple weeks ago, Mathis talked about trying out for Shaq's fat male model.
Oh,
thing.
I forgot about that.
For what? Oh, Shaq.
Haven't done it yet, guys.
I
forgot.
I was hoping for an update on that, and since you could say I'm happy.
Is this like the voice for middle-aged married dudes?
Did you forget that? Tombstone? No, you were here that day.
I wasn't here that day.
He wasn't on that show. So Shaq's
busy.
doing a model contest for fat guys.
Like how fat?
Like to be the new big and tall models for JCPenney.
like pleasantly plump?
I don't
Big
know.
and tall, baby. Big and tall.
Fat
No,
and tall.
I'm definitely big and tall.
I know.
There
We
you
all
go.
could apply to it. You just send in 4 photos and they might pick you.
I'm gonna do it.
I know. I'm pretty sure I sent the link to you.
Send me the link. Or
All right.
Yeah,
find,
yeah.
if I see if
Now
I
you can
find
go
the
on your
link.
tangent. I just had to get an update because Matt
So-
swore he was going to do it.
So
I read. Yeah,
go ahead.
I read a really interesting article this week about how almost everything we wear now in casual fashion in America has some kind of background in sporting equipment or sporting wear.
Okay.
So going all the way back to like the idea of wearing shorts,
Yeah.
because that used to be athletic gear only for like people in college or whatever. Same with sweaters. Sweaters was a purely sporting type purpose, usually for guys that would row. Yoga pants is the one we think of when most, like the guy who popularized yoga pants, the Lululemon guy. He went to a yoga class in 1998 and he said, "Oh my gosh, I'm going to make $1 million off these pants these people were wearing." And he was the one that like mass produced and mass marketed yoga pants, and we see the fruits of that every day, for good or for evil.
That's right. If you go to Walmart.
But for me,
it literally can be good or evil.
So for me,
all parts of the spectrum.
Guys,
Right,
I've
it
said,
really depends
I've
on
said
who's
this
in the
before,
pants,
guys.
right?
We need to have weight limits on yoga pants.
it really depends on who's in the pants, whether it's good or evil. And there's like a happy middle ground where it's not too much of either one. Anyways,
I'm just saying weight limits. Weight limits.
so like you guys
may
know I
not
love
ride this ride if you're over.
Right. All right. So you guys know I love like the slightly stretchy 511 pants with the reinforced seat and all that stuff. 511 we think of as a military gear or like tactical gear manufacturer, but 511 was originally a rock climbing gear manufacturer.
How do you hold on? How do you wear stretchy pants?
They're
I gotta
cotton.
see these.
They've got a little bit of flex to them. I understand.
They're cotton and they have just a little bit of give to them. If you're a bigger kind of person who likes to wear like commonsensical pants, they're really nice.
See, I normally wear the Wrangler,
but
the
they're
cargo
reinforced.
pants.
They're reinforced in the crotch.
I've got like 6 or 7 pairs of the. Maybe it's 4 or 5.
I
pairs
can't.
Of the,
I really can't wear regular
cargos.
cargo pants because my booty and my hips are just too big.
Yeah,
I look. I look totally ridiculous. Yeah, even I look a little bit ridiculous even in like relaxed fit jeans.
See, compared to my waist,
You just look
my
ridiculous,
butt
but-
is small.
True.
And so I have issues finding pants that fit properly.
Right.
That is true, folks. Mathis has what I like to call the Mr. Incredible
yeah.
physique. He is rather large up
There was a King of the Hill
top, but he
episode
has
about this.
But he still wears like a 32 waist or something stupid small. Like,
Yeah. So
he's kind of goofy looking.
it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
it really
like
is.
I have like my current size. I have a really hard time finding pants in my size because my legs are 34 inches and my waist is 44 inches.
Holy smokes!
Yeah, so it's
Like a
very
single
difficult
leg?
to find pants.
A single leg is 34 inches.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I mean I
Yeah.
wear a 34-inch inseam. That's
Yeah.
what I was saying.
Oh.
See that
I thought you were saying
my
around.
issue is I wear a 30
No.
inseam.
We're talking about getting fat.
Although
so-
my legs are quite big around.
I can't
Gosh,
find
34 inseam.
30 inseams. Like
I don't think I've ever seen a 30 inseam.
What?
You're just
30
put together
30
weirdly.
There's 30 inseams all over the place.
there
Oh,
are-
yeah, sorry,
there,
I was
there are
thinking-
not as many as you would like.
With what waist size?
40 to 42.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
That's probably
It's
why.
because you're the
40,
wrong
42.
size.
I know, man. I know. I'm totally disproportionate to what it should be. Speaking of long inseams, Jeff, did you see the snake in Detroit?
That may be the best one ever.
You're
My
welcome, guys.
gosh.
You're welcome,
My
guys. I
gosh.
absolutely love you guys.
I think you need to make. Can you put that into an intro? I feel like that deserves its own intro.
I didn't know where that was going.
Hang on.
It was
I
not
didn't
going
either.
where I thought it was going.
How long
don't
did it
even know
take you
what
to come up with
just
that?
No, I was like, so mentally, I'm just a peek behind the curtain for our audience. I'm always trying to
Warning.
fit in the next topic because, we don't want the
Warning.
show to lag, right? And so I'm like, oh, well, the next article on the docket is the 18-foot long snake in Detroit.
Which, no, I didn't see because all you did was send an email with 2 words in it: Detroit Snake.
That's right.
Which there's a lot of interpretations for that.
Yeah, I was just like, I don't know. I'm
Speaking of
busy and I
inseams.
rarely watch TV, so no, I did not see the Detroit Snake.
No, so apparently an 18-foot python named Juliet escaped out of her Detroit home and up onto her neighbor's roof.
Oh, that's a
that's
nice
exciting.
name.
Yeah, Juliet.
Did it eat any stray cats while it was out?
I hope so.
'Cause that could be helpful.
So, 14-minute Facebook video of the snake. Oh my
that's
goodness.
pretty good for a
It's
Facebook
moving
video.
and it's huge.
It's a
Most
long
Facebook
video.
videos are like 5 seconds long, and they're so shaky you can't see anything.
Right. No, and guaranteed. Now,
We need a new journalism award for like excellence in Facebook live streaming.
any bets on which way the phone was pointed? Was it horizontal or
wait,
vertical?
wait.
It was
I know the answer to this.
definitely vertical.
It was
It
vertical.
was vertical.
Nobody knows how to film anything. Oh my word!
So sick and tired. Guys, so audience, everyone listening, anyone within the sound of my voice, if you are taking a video, turn the phone sideways. It's not that hard. It looks absolutely ridiculous if you don't turn it sideways.
Hang on. Here's the reality. If you're on the move or only have one hand free, it's a lot easier to do it vertically than it is
That is true.
horizontal.
That is true.
That's just sad
Now,
reality.
if you're just standing around watching like a street fight or something like that, then you have plenty of time to just flip it horizontal for all our sakes.
Now, we understand if you're doing a drive-by or you yourself are
vertical
involved in a
is
fight,
probably good.
vertical is fine.
Yes.
Yes.
But this 90% of videos, like, so take for instance the Easter Bunny whooping that guy's rump the other day on video. You guys didn't see that either?
Dude,
Oh,
I have a
man.
life.
I have a life too.
I'm
I do too.
Yeah, and Aaron's life consists of critiquing videos on Facebook.
Yeah, apparently.
So it's this happened in Florida. Apparently, we're jumping to Florida Man story already.
Wait. Florida man assaulted the Easter Bunny?
No, Easter Bunny is a
Assaulted
Florida
Florida
man.
man.
Turns out he's a wanted man in Jersey.
There's
No.
nothing surprising about this
So
story.
apparently, some woman was getting beat up by her male friend, and this guy dressed up as the Easter Bunny came over and started beating up the guy who was beating up the woman.
So Florida man is a furry. Oh, that's the other thing you guys had me laughing about.
No, that's Beto. That's
Show
Beto
last
O'Rourke.
week.
That was Tombstone. That's
Is that
Tombstone
Beta?
at the
Is that who
front
this
porch
is? Is this
show
Beta?
dot com.
Beta O'Rourke, as I like to call him.
No, this
Yeah.
is not. By the way, he did a conference the other day. One of his campaign stops, and 35 people showed up. So
That's because everybody's latched onto Pete Buttigieg.
Yeah. Butt gig.
Don't
I
don't make
believe
it worse than it is.
I believe it's Buttigieg.
Yeah, that's Buttigieg. I'm gonna hack it. It's actually
can't
a
even pronounce
Maltese
his name.
name. It's a Maltese name, so it's very strange in the catalog of European names. I
Very.
thought it was Scandinavian at first, but it's not.
very odd, guys. I want to come back and I want to talk about everyone who's running for
I
presidency
feel like
now.
we're gonna have to do this every week until we die.
We are. I mean,
just like
Biden,
Star Wars movies.
Mr. Touchy McFeely himself is running now.
Shotgun Joe.
It was not always a given that the United States and America would have a close relationship.
Hold on a sec. I'm gonna get me a beer.
It's Mr. McMillan. Would you like 30 seconds more?
Allow me to introduce myself. The rent's too damn high.
Thank you, Mr. McMillan, for bringing us back in. Guys, the presidential field for the Democratic Party is getting bigger and crazier.
So can we? I think before we do anything else, we need to do an actual reading of the list of who is running.
Yes. Do you have that?
I'll do it very quickly so we don't get bogged down. Of course, we have Joe Biden as of this week, Cory Booker, Pete Buttigieg, Julian Castro, John Delaney, Tulsi Gabbard, Kirsten Gillibrand, Mike Gravel, Kamala Harris, John Hickenlooper, Jay Inslee, Amy Klobuchar, Wayne Messam, Seth Moulton, Beto O'Rourke, Tim Ryan, Bernie Sanders, Eric Swalwell, Elizabeth Warren, Marianne Williamson, who I've never heard of. And at the very bottom, my favorite, Andrew Yang.
So I got to tell you something about Andrew Yang.
And hang on, Richard Ojeda has withdrawn his campaign.
Okay.
Very important note. Because we were all very interested in what he was going to do.
So Andrew Yang was in Sioux City last night.
Yeah.
And I almost
Dude,
went.
if you had gone, I would have loved to hear how it went.
I was not feeling well at all. So I'm dealing with the man flu right now.
It goes back to the recursive cookie loop.
Yes, it goes back to the recursive child loop.
No, that too.
That Jeff kind of did this whole double
the recursive child cold loop.
Yes. You know, they inevitably get a cold at church and then come home and rub their faces on you.
That has been our experience as well.
It's
almost like you go to church and then you don't go to church the next week and then you repeat it the next month.
Yeah, we don't afford ourselves that luxury. We just make our sick kids go to church. So
so you're the one getting everyone else's kids sick at church.
Well, the problem is we have to be there. So, you know, we have things that we
need a backup sound man.
I'm not a sound guy, man. I'm the video guy.
Oh,
yeah.
Even less.
This is a very important status distinction, Jeff.
Less important.
Have a church without a video.
Okay, so
you don't need the lights and the laser show and the words on the screen.
Oh my goodness!
So, Aaron, Andrew Yang has Andrew Yang said or done anything to make you like him more or less in the intervening time since we last talked?
I like him less.
Okay,
I'm extremely concerned over Tombstone's obsession with Andrew Yang.
No. I'm only moderately obsessed because I think he's by far the most interesting person running. He's more interesting than Donald Trump, no question. But he is definitely progressive, and he's definitely a utopian futurist, and he is absolutely the most dangerous man in America. So, no question about that.
That sums it up about right.
Yeah.
So,
my positive feelings about Andrew Yang pretty much extend to the fact that I think he's thought extremely, extremely deeply about problems that exist. I don't agree with the solutions he's come up with, but I respect the fact that I think he's done far and away more actual thinking than just about anybody currently in politics.
He's not a politician.
Because all those other candidates are just trying to get elected. They don't actually care about the problem.
Yeah. I mean, I think Andrew Yang's trying to get elected. I don't think he's trying that hard.
Now,
and he said as much in his book that he's very interested in changing the conversation and maybe running with somebody with more clout. So I forget exactly how
all that time reading that long list, but you forgot to mention that we have a Republican challenger.
You mean a Democratic challenger?
Don't forget Bill Weld, who was a Democrat, who was a libertarian, who's now wanting to challenge Trump as a Republican.
I have no words for Bill Weld. Bill Weld.
I don't have a single nice thing to say about Bill Weld.
A joke.
Bill Weld.
He's not a joke. Thing is, he's not a joke. He's worse. He's an intentional spoiler. That's worse than being a joke.
That's probably true.
Bill Weld is an absolute fail. For all, I
feel like Bill Weld is the boomer who doesn't like what everybody else is doing, so he's going to try and ruin the party for everybody else. Is that too harsh?
No,
being a boomer doesn't really enter into it. To be fair,
pretty much exactly it.
So he ended up running. He was Romney's running mate in Massachusetts.
Mm-hmm.
Super moderate Republican.
Yes,
in fact,
Massachusetts Republican.
In fact, Democrat, you could say.
You might say that, yes.
A conservative Democrat for all other parts of the country except for California and New York.
Pretty much. Can I enter into a very short rant here?
Go ahead.
This is a rant I gave, or I postulated in 2016 early, and Trump has changed some of it somewhat. But I'll say basically what I said then, which is the Republican Party is in a civil war and has been in a civil war since 2009, 2008, and basically, and I say it's a civil war because we're fighting over who's going to run the party and how. We really need to just split the party. The sooner we split the party, the sooner we can get back to actually solving problems. And that way, the people who are running it, who don't like the base, they don't have to lie and pretend they like the base. If they don't want to do what the base wants to do, they don't have to. But they can't do that and pretend to speak for the base at the same time and lie to the base actively and maliciously for fundraising purposes.
And that's exactly why we're so frustrated with the Republican Party and why they seem impotent and useless no matter how much power you give them, because they lie to the base to get elected, but they don't actually want to do any of that stuff. They're not a conservative party. So when they get in power, they don't follow through.
I am open to a friendly or even an unfriendly disagreement on what should or should not be conservative policy, but the problem is we're doing it within the framework of what essentially has been a death struggle. Now, I think it was not obvious to me in 2016, but it's fairly obvious now. The Trumpian wing has mostly won that fight. I feel like the Never Trump has basically retreated to the fringes and have basically ganged up with Democrats at this point.
Well, you realize there's kind of almost three wings of the party now. There's like the old school establishment. We're all friends with the Democrats in the background. The rhinos, the Romneys, the Bushes, the McCains, the whatever's.
The rhinos.
Then you've got the Trump Republicans, the pragmatists that whatever Trump says is quote unquote conservative gospel. And then you've got the conservatives, which I think that the Trump people, they were originally in the Tea Party because they wanted to be fired up. That they wanted to be against Obama and they wanted to be fired up. So the principled people of the Tea Party used the frustration of these other people that are now Trump people. But when nothing happened on a conservative front, they picked their next hero. Their next hero is Trump, and so now they're on his train. And then you've got the conservative, libertarian-leaning kind of constitutionalists. And a couple of them kind of went weird at Never Trump, but most of them are just trying to do their thing, and they're going to.
Well, think about who used to be Never Trump and is now not Never Trump. I'll give you three big names that you'll recognize: Glenn Beck, and the third one I would say is Eric Erickson.
Now, name the one.
What was the first one you said?
The first one you said?
Mark Levin.
Mark Levin.
Yeah.
Name the one who was pro-Trump and now is not.
Oh, hang on. Media person?
Yeah.
Give me a hint.
Isn't it not Laura Ingraham, the other lady?
Ann Coulter?
Ann Coulter.
Yeah, but that's its own special case.
Dude,
that's its own
is off her flipping rocker
very special
now.
Case.
She said she'd vote for Bernie if he'd build a wall.
Yeah, I probably would too, to be fair.
What?
Yeah.
You would vote for Bernie Sanders if he would secure the border.
I would definitely consider it. I'm pretty mad about
an avowed socialist.
Yeah, because I wouldn't feel like, because it goes back to what we just said, I wouldn't feel like I was being lied to.
So that's the thing about Bernie. I grew up in Vermont.
So if you read Mein Kampf and Hitler laid it all out in there, you just vote for him because he didn't lie
Jeff,
to you?
let's not reductio ad absurdum.
Because Hitler wanted a wall.
No, I didn't say
the problem is Hitler wanted the wall to be outside his country and include all the other countries around it. Jeff, your point. I understand your point, but I mean, I really don't like Bernie at all. But I also really didn't like Trump at all. So yet here we are.
I know.
This is a weird time to be alive. Like, can we just get that out there? It is a very strange time to be alive in politics.
I don't think that we can actually, in a clear conscience, really vote for anyone who's running at all. Like purely based on principles, can you vote for anyone who's running?
So okay, we've gone there. So let's talk about this.
Oh boy, Aaron, you've mashed the button.
None of us.
The Energizer Bunny.
None of us pulled the lever for Trump last time.
He's in rare form tonight.
Okay.
He's attacking my politics. He attacked my church. I tell you, he's in rare form. Keep going, Jeff. Pile on. Let's go.
I missed a week. I listened to you guys while I was mowing my backyard, which is actually a whole nother story you might enjoy.
We're going to talk about that.
But anyway, none of us pulled the lever for Trump last time.
No. Wait. Remind me who you voted for, Jeff. Or did you vote?
Constitution Party.
Daryl Castle.
I voted for Daryl Castle too.
Yeah.
I voted for.
Like I said, this is a very strange time to be alive. Okay.
Exactly.
I voted for Gary Johnson, not Bill Weld.
See, I couldn't vote for Gary Johnson. Austin Peterson, I could have voted for.
Yeah.
Gary Johnson,
Gary Johnson, I would have voted for Gary Johnson if I didn't feel like he was purposely trying to make me mad.
So, could any of us pull the lever for Trump this time around?
Right now, no.
Yes. So disappointed, Aaron.
Then I'm on the fence in this because last time it was kind of a big principle thing for me, and not as much with everyone's like he's so crass, he's so whatever. Like obviously all those things turned me off to him, but it was a principle thing as far as like conservative politics principles. Like this guy isn't anything he says he is, and if we keep taking whatever they give us, we're hosed. Like I'm sick of the three options I've been given to vote for if I wanted to vote Republican since I've been able to vote for presidents have been John McCain, Mitt Romney, and Trump. They've all been terrible. Yeah. So with all the other things going on with them, and I wrote that article, whatever, and I was like,
but think back though. If you were your parents' age, the people you'd have had to vote on before that would have been Ronald Reagan, who was pretty good.
Yeah, amazing.
But you would have had Richard Nixon, depending how old your parents are, and HW and Bob Dole. And so there's really not been a lot of great choices as far as our point of view is concerned.
And I would argue that from a conservative standpoint, most of those people were better than the current option of Donald Trump.
Oh yeah.
So
from a viewpoint?
From a conservative viewpoint, because
I think Donald Trump's a lot more conservative than W. Bush.
See, I don't know about that. Depending on
who's controlling him,
but depending on what principle too. I mean, when it comes to the Second Amendment, Donald Trump is not a fan.
I will completely
he was
grant.
Speaking at the NRA stuff again this week, saying that he's the biggest defender of Second Amendment rights. Everyone's cheering.
I will absolutely agree. Let me interject. I absolutely agree that Trump is terrible on the Second Amendment.
Okay,
I'll agree with that 100%.
Let's see. I had like 3 points and I can't remember them now.
And just to lest you think that I'm not attuned to this, I actually predicted that if something like the Parkland shooting or the Las Vegas shooting happened, Trump would be much easier to co-opt into signing something like that.
Yes, you did. You did
because
say that.
There's no inoculation to his foolishness like there would be with Hillary or Obama.
My other thing is I don't think he's a fan of due process. He made those references with guns and due process.
He's a boomer.
He's in favor of red flag laws.
So is Lindsey Graham.
He has vacillated so
he keeps
much
getting reelected
on the Assange thing.
I don't think Assange is not a conservative.
The most recent.
I don't. No. I'm not saying Assange is a conservative or not. I'm saying that what Assange did should be valued by the right. But the problem is that a lot of the right.
I'm very wary of trying to shoehorn anything Assange has done into the right or left paradigm. I think Assange is for Assange.
But see, I would disagree. Same with Snowden. Then.
Snowden did a very brave thing that was completely illegal.
It was illegal, but is doing the right thing, even if it's illegal, the wrong thing?
Well, you can't ignore the law just because it was the right thing.
See, there's where I disagree with you, Tombstone.
Well,
yeah, see, I think I'm going to disagree with you there.
Hang on. Look at Reality Winner. You know who I'm talking about?
No.
The girl who's working at the NSA office in Augusta who sent a bunch of stuff to The Intercept. She's in jail. Bradley Manning went to jail.
Well, yeah.
I'm not saying you aren't going to go to jail for doing the right thing.
No.
I'm saying you can't pick and choose.
See, no. You'll never hear me say that it wasn't against the law. I'm saying that it was the right thing.
Oh, well, I would not try to pigeonhole Trump's way Trump behaves toward, WikiLeaks or whatever into a conservative or not conservative paradigm.
But I think my bigger issue with it is, though, when he sits there one moment and he supports it because he's getting information that he likes, then all of a sudden he condemns it because he's getting information that he doesn't.
Did Trump actually condemn it though, or did it? I mean, I know obviously that the DOJ went after him, but I don't know if Trump has actually said anything about it one way or the other.
It's Trump's DOJ, regardless of how.
Yeah, but we know that's not true because everything has happened in the last 2 years.
Yeah, I wouldn't say he effectively controls it, but also he has no principles, and that's why he's literally, utterly a total pragmatist. Whatever is convenient to me at the moment, which is all concerns we had, right? So here we go. Pros versus cons.
He's written these out.
Looking at these 20-some names that Tombstone read to start this segment, if it's one of those 20 names versus Trump, are you going to pull the lever for Trump to stop the full-on crazies? Are you going to go pragmatist this time and lesser of two evils? Or not?
I would freely admit,
what would you guys do this time?
My support of Trump is based on two main things. I would like for it to be three. The number three is the wall, but we're not going to get the wall. Those two main things, that it's been really good for the economy, and just by virtue, and it's not anything Trump has done, because Trump really hasn't done that much except get out of the way. And I think Obama, just the fact that he was sitting in the Oval Office was bad for the economy because it affected the way money was moving. But that's a whole different conversation. Second item, because Trump has revealed the vast amount of craziness on the left, it's just very hard for me to just capitulate to it.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm struggling with at the moment. Is there's utter insanity loose on the left right now.
I knew that I didn't vote for Trump. I never expected him to win. The day after he lost, or that day after he won, I was happy. The reason I was happy is because I saw the vast amount of craziness that was unleashed just by virtue of the fact that he won, and that's why I knew it was the right thing.
Yes. Now,
does that make sense, Aaron?
Now,
I hear you.
Politically wise, would we as conservatives have actually been better off with Hillary as president because the Republican Congress would have at least continued to pretend to be conservative for 2 years?
I don't know. I think it's better. I think we've drawn all the pus out of the wound. I think this has been better. This is actually.
The crazies are coming out of the woodwork, so it's actually been, pretty convenient.
I guess, Aaron, to speak more directly to your point, like, everybody has to decide what level of idealism they're going to bring to their individual vote.
Oh, and
right?
No doubt.
And I guess
we're not going to find a person we totally agree with.
Right. And I guess it's kind of cynical, and this is not the way that I thought even 5 years ago or 6 years ago when I voted for Romney. Oh wait, I didn't vote for Romney. Who did I vote for? I can't remember. I think I voted. Who ran for Libertarian in 2012?
I don't remember. I
voted on the Constitution. I voted on the Constitution Party.
I voted Ron Paul.
I can't remember. I didn't vote for Mitt Romney, but it doesn't. Again, in my state, it doesn't really matter because my precinct is like 80% Republican. So,
no. So
you got to decide. I guess what Trump, not Trump, but what's happened the last 2 years has thrown me into existential mode, not idealism mode. And that changes the way I think about the whole process. I don't think of myself now as the guy who's the vanguard of the founders' ideology. I think of myself as the guy at the end of the Roman Republic who's just trying to keep things going a little bit longer. So if you give me a Brutus instead of a Caesar, then I'm going to take the Brutus.
Sounds like a depressing view, Tombstone.
It is, but my viewpoint has radically changed in terms of where we are in the Republic's course of history.
But it may be a very realistic view.
Yeah, that doesn't make me happy.
No, I don't know. So talk to me about this though. I mean, look, we saw this past week. The Democrats are imploding, right? We can all agree on that. Democrats are imploding.
Are they though? Are they? So that's one thing I want to be careful of, because we said we weren't going to do this and we go there. So from the right, we're always like, oh, they said this outrageous thing. They're imploding. We think they're insane, but is that really how they're viewed from their side? Is that really how they're viewed from the middle? Or are they doing awesome? Are they knocking the ball out of the park?
So
according to them
I read a very interesting statistic yesterday. The amount of wokeness is directly tied. Like, this is like what we think of as like progressive, especially when it comes to race, progressive ideology when it comes to race and equality. The how woke you are is directly tied to whether or not you're white and how much time you spend on the internet.
And are you using woke as a good thing?
No, in my words,
as a progressive
bad thing.
Okay.
Yeah,
gotcha.
So he's using woke as what it is. It's just bad for us and good for them.
Yeah. So,
I've heard it used both ways. That's why I was wondering.
Yeah. I mean, there's the point is that there's very good propaganda being disseminated by the left via the internet to young white people. So and black people too. It's not like but this study particularly dealt with white people and their racial attitudes.
What particularly disturbs me is that all these things keep happening on the left. You've got was it you who sent me the email the other day about they found Hillary's emails, or was that
that sounds like an AP email?
Okay, that may have been our friend who's on the inside. He
the inside, the outside of the inside,
the outside of the inside. Our wonderful 4chan stalker.
We have, so for those of the audience, we have a guy who is he's our conspiracy theory clearinghouse. I think is the best way to say it.
Probably, I think that's
he feeds us all the good stuff.
He does. And so, anyways, so apparently they
semi-verified stuff.
Yes. They found the emails, right? They found Hillary.
They're all
Clinton's
printed
emails
out and just sitting on somebody's desk. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know how they are, Tombstone
in boxes
or Jeff.
I literally have no idea what you're talking about. And the fact that I don't know about it means it probably didn't happen because my antenna are pretty good.
So take that if it didn't happen. Okay,
stop, Jeff.
We also have the Tulsi Gabbard thing that you sent me the other day.
Yes.
So
I don't think that's a conspirity. That's just good old-fashioned politics.
Right. So explain to me what happened.
Can we run the video?
We'd have to go to break and come back for me to do that.
Let's go to break because I think that deserves its own, at least the front half of a segment. I think that because I want to do it justice.
Let's do it. We'll be right back, guys.
I'll also let you know what I think Biden's slogan should be when we come back.
My favorite word is the word.
We got an issue in America. Too many good docs are getting out of business. Too many OBGYNs aren't able to practice their love with women all across this country.
Back up, you creep.
And Bernie Sanders might run. Apparently, some folks really want to see a pot-smoking socialist in the White House. We could get a third Obama term after all.
Well, welcome back to the Front Porch Show. Another politics segment for you. I always love that intro. And this segment will be brought to you by Biden 2020. Joe Biden, I'm behind you, America.
Oh, my goodness. I hope we don't get sued for that.
That was just every bit as good as I thought it would be. I'm impressed.
Wow.
I knew you guys would like that.
That's disturbing.
I should have said, I'm behind you, America.
Oh,
that's good. It was good. So Aaron, we definitely need a Shotgun Joe intro for sure.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I need to get the stand up. So
we need to stand up.
Intro this as I queue up stuff here.
Okay, so we've talked about Tulsi Gabbard, and she's like the only person on the left that I find moderately interesting. Running for president, that is. Sorry, I realized
Andrew Yang. You literally drool over Andrew Yang.
Literally love him. Literally like a bromance.
There are posters of him on the wall behind you.
Y'all are disgusting.
With hearts drawn on them.
You're like, if I didn't have my wife, it would be Andrew.
Man crush.
Hey, if I didn't have my wife, but I did have Andrew Yang for president, I'd have $12,000 a year. But if I did have my wife and Andrew Yang was president, I'd have $24,000 a year. Well, we would have $24,000 a year,
and the country would still be in the dump.
Guess what? With $24,000 a year, I could probably pay off my house, and that's probably about it because I wouldn't have enough money left over after inflation to do anything else. Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard is a very interesting lady. She is of, I think, Indian and Polynesian descent. She is a senator from Hawaii. She has what we would say heterodox opinions on the left, especially regarding foreign policy. And she put up a very interesting video yesterday.
Tombstone, where did you send me this video, by the way?
I posted it on my Facebook. Do you need me to grab it?
No, I can grab it from there. That's fine.
Okay,
continue. Sorry about that.
That's fine. She posted a very interesting video on her Twitter, which was grabbed. but it was deleted from her Twitter. I did scroll through to make sure because I was told it was deleted, but people say stuff is deleted all the time. Like, share this before Facebook deletes it, and it's like some lame boomer meme.
Boomer.
So I wanted to make sure it actually was deleted. I scrolled through and I could not find it. And the reason it appears to have been taken down is because she is criticizing Democrat orthodoxy.
Here we go.
The most attacks I get are not from Republicans. They're from Democrats.
Everyone's in
They're from
shock.
people in the mainstream media. They're from people in the foreign policy establishment that you're
That's the
talking
same
about.
thing,
People who
mainstream media
represent
and
the
Democrats.
interests of the military-industrial complex. But you know what? You know what? The answer to how
She's
we
got people
overcome
not
this,
happy with her in this.
It's us. It's we the people.
The rest of it is fairly boilerplate. That first, those first
She
two
will-
paragraphs.
She will never win presidency. I can see it in her
Yeah.
face.
So,
That
she,
stinks.
I mean, I hate
For
to
her.
say this, but she's not a really great speaker. But regardless of that, I wasn't sure if that was just a really small room, but like it felt like the dynamism there was just dead, or if it's like you said that people were just like in shock. You shouldn't say that. But I don't think you would go to a Tulsi rally and be surprised if she said something like that, because she's pretty well known for her opinions.
She's not a politician. She's not a politician.
No, I
She's
would
a
say she's
Democrat.
definitely a politician. She's just a politician of a different stripe.
See, I don't know if I necessarily agree with you.
I'm not in a hurry to say people who are in the Senate are not politicians. That's if you're in the Senate, I think you're probably a politician by default.
No, see, I disagree with you because I think people like Rand Paul, and I think people like
Rand
Thomas
Paul's
Massey.
absolutely. Rand, how can you say
Rand
that?
Paul's a
Rand Paul's been
politician.
politicking so hard the last 2 years. He's been in and out of the White House like every day. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but he's politicking.
Politicking and
I think there's a difference between a
I think you're
politician
trying
and the
to
way we
split
use
hairs.
politician as a slang.
yes.
Yeah, I think you're splitting hairs, but it's all right.
Maybe.
I love you still.
I know.
But she is not. I can tell you what she's not. And she is not a politician who's paying a lot of attention to her back because she's about to get a shiv in it. So, and one would speculate that the reason it was taken
by
down,
that you mean the DNC is going to come after her.
Yeah, I mean, I
just
think
wanted
that's
to
the reason
clarify on that.
the video was taken down is because the DNC had her take it down.
Yeah. Oh, not surprised. Yeah, it wouldn't shock me.
So, but because the DNC is very concerned about presenting a united front, although how they're going to do that with 20 candidates for president. Of those names I listed, how many of those did you not recognize at all?
Like 4,
a third.
Yeah.
I know. I've heard of most of them, unfortunately.
Most of them I had heard of, but some of them I had not heard of. Like, hang on, let's pull it back up. I mean, I never heard of Pete Buttigieg until 3 weeks ago. Never heard of him. Julian Castro,
True.
heard of him, but I don't know anything about him. John Delaney, never heard of him. Never heard that name in my life. Mike Gravel, I've unfortunately heard of.
For some reason, I've heard that name, and I don't know why.
Jay Inslee, never heard of him. Seth Moulton, never heard of him. Tim Ryan, never heard of him. Eric Swalwell, he's famous for all the wrong
Enough of
reasons.
those. You know what's amazing? In the party of intersectionality, almost every name you just read sounded like a white guy.
The only black person in the spool here is Cory Booker. Of course, Andrew Yang is Asian. No, pardon me. Wayne Messam. He's another one I've never heard of. He's the mayor
Kamala
of
Harris.
Miramar.
Kamala Harris.
She's Indian, and she's half Indian, half black, though. East Asian Indian.
So she doesn't get the.
I don't think she gets full. I don't think she gets full points. But the main problem with Kamala Harris from a Democrat standpoint is not her race or her lack of coloring. It's the fact that she was a DA for a long time and she was really good at it and she's really proud of it.
Did you hear about
her main?
Did you hear about the recent debacle?
Refresh me.
In Iowa, she admitted to owning a gun.
Oh,
she owned a handgun while she was a DA, and then said that
she owns a gun for self-defense, but she wants to get rid of guns.
Right.
So
right.
this is what's interesting to me about Kamala Harris. She keeps doing these self-owns, and I really thought she was going to be a very slick candidate. And she and again, maybe I'm just getting the wrong slices that coming through the news. She just doesn't seem like she's ready for prime time. Not that I really care one way or the other, but Joe Biden, at least I think they're part of the reason Joe Biden is so popular because everybody knows what they're getting. They're getting basically a bacon cheeseburger that's 80 years old.
After hearing him this week talking, I'm really concerned about it. Like I'm concerned that he may win the
Tell me more. Tell me your
He's the
thoughts.
most likable.
Well, that was the thing. That was the thing. He's the most likable. He's leading in the polls already among Democrats.
And for some reason, they do not understand the irony of their obsession with intersectionality and their continued putting forward of ancient white people.
I think you just like that word, intersectionality.
Now, not that it should matter at all, because it should be based on policies and ideas, not whatever intersectional, title you hold. But
we're entering a very strange phase of history where we're treating your color and your class as deterministic indicators of your personal positions.
Yeah.
Which is exactly the opposite of what I thought we were getting when I was growing up in the 90s. Just have to point that out.
It's true. Yeah.
This week's prediction, who do you think's going to take it, Jeff? Tombstone and I made thoughts last week. What are
but
yours?
I thought you guys said you're going to do it monthly,
I know,
not weekly.
But we got to get yours in. What's yours? As of right now.
Oh, man.
As of right now.
Right now, which Democrat do I think gets in?
Which Democrat's going to get the nomination? Come on, Jeff. Come on.
Biden's going to be my cop-out right now, but I honestly think he's losing steam.
Yeah.
I don't know that he'll make it, but right now, based on the numbers, I'll say Biden. And I'm scared of that one, actually. Not just because I use a good-smelling shampoo.
We are back with the Front Porch Show. Guys, so I spent 3 days in South Dakota this week. And for my day job, I do housing inspections. And so it takes me all over the place. And so first day I drive I'm probably at mile 800, right? And I'm in South Dakota in the middle of an Indian reservation. No one's around. It's like I'm like 2 miles from a town. There's nothing. No cell phone signal, no nothing. And as I'm coming up to this T in the road, there's a police officer and his partner sitting there in their little SUV. Local sheriff, county mountie. I pull out.
Local sheriffs don't usually have jurisdiction on the Indian reservation.
It all depends on.
I watched Longmire.
It all depends on if it's Indian trust land or not.
Okay.
So, I take my left. Of course, with the blinker on, I've got my seatbelt on. I take my left, and I'm literally a mile from my stop where I have to inspect a house. Cop comes flying up behind me. Same guy. Lights come on. I pull over real slow. He comes walking up to the car.
License and registration, please.
Comes walking up to the car. I of course grabbed my license out and my CCW, concealed weapons permit. South Dakota, you don't have to inform, I don't believe, but I inform anyways.
You did that very gently, I trust.
Yes. So what I do, 10 and 2, I hand my license and my card. The CWP behind the card. You've
now called it a CCW and a CWP. Do you actually know the actual term for it?
I think it's a CCW here in Nebraska, but all across the country, it doesn't matter. They're all the same thing. Unless you have constitutional carry, then it really doesn't matter. And so I hand him both cards. He looks at the first one, slides it out, sees the second one. I then, as soon as he sees that card, I inform him I do have a weapon in the car. And he, of course, asks where it is. I tell him where it is. His partner's standing, at my other window, which I had opened for the partner, so that they could both, talk through the car. And he's like, "Do you know why I pulled you over?" And I was like, "No, not really." He's like, "Well, illegal lane change." I was like, "Excuse me?"
Were there multiple lanes? It sounds like you're on a 2-lane road.
It is a 2-lane road. It is a 2-lane road.
So how could you, like, literally 2 lanes is in one direction, one the other way?
Yes. Yes.
So
So he
how could you have an
claimed that
illegal
I
lane
passed
change?
across the lanes, which wasn't possible because there was an 18-wheeler there, okay? There was an 18-wheeler coming at me, okay?
That would have been difficult.
There was no way I could have gone over into the other lane. And so, you know, he asked me where I'm headed. I inform him because I'm literally in the middle of nowhere. I'm 2 hours from the nearest, you know, decent sized city, and I don't want to end up in a county jail overnight because I'm probably not going to get a phone call because they may not even have phones. And so I'm sitting there and I hand him my information and of course, you know, I've got 3 expired registrations in the car. And that doesn't help.
The old ones.
That doesn't help, man.
Because you're always like, this, no, this, no, I do have
I'm
one.
super nervous and I'm trying to hand it to him. And
did you tell him it was your cousin's car?
No.
That'd have been hilarious.
That's usually that's what I usually see on live feeds.
Hang on.
Right.
So, Aaron, what did they say when they saw your CWP?
So CWT, all he was like is, where is the weapon located? I informed him of center console, and he's like, well, let's leave it there. I was like, yeah, of course, sure, no problem. And then he's like, oh, come. He takes a look at the stuff. He's like, well, I'm going to issue you a warning for changing lanes inappropriately and for a cracked windshield because it's impeding your view. And I'm like, okay, that's
well.
interesting.
You do have a cracked windshield because I've seen pictures.
I do have
a
cracked windshield
before.
Yeah, I do have a cracked windshield. So he asked me to come back to the car with him. This is where I realized why he asked me to come back to the car. We're about 3 steps away from the car, and he goes, "Not to concern you or anything, but I have a dog there. He's probably going to sniff you, and he's probably going to bark." And I'm like,
so he wants to see if the dog hits on you for drugs.
He wants to see if the dog's gonna hit on me.
Isn't that a warrantless
dog
search?
So I'm wondering if in South Dakota, if they're not allowed to bring the dog to the car without probable cause, and if I hit inside his cruiser, I hear
really
you,
dirty to me.
Tombstone.
I mean, I'm not saying I would have done anything different.
Let's back up. Remember,
my libertarian hero days.
Remember why I was pulled
me.
over? I was pulled over for an illegal lane change, which I know I didn't do.
Right.
And so I'm sitting in the car. I get in the car, and I've got the door open. It's hot, right?
And the dog leans over and says, "Hey, baby."
Yes, the dog hit on me. No, the dog did not hit on me. Okay. Officer had me close the door to the car. And the dog.
You obviously look like you are going to run away.
The dog.
I mean, you look like look like a marathon sprinter.
The 2 sheriffs have nothing on me, man, and the dog certainly had nothing on me. That's for sure. No, and the dog just sits there, and nothing. And so then the
dog
cop
was uninterested.
Then the cop, as he's typing in information, is like, "So
you weren't his type."
Because I wasn't the dog's type and the dog didn't signal that I was carrying drugs. The officer, like, visibly, you could see him relax. And all of a sudden he's like, "So, what do you carry?" And so we start swapping stories. Turns out he carries a 9 S&W M&P off duty. And
what does he carry on duty though?
Glock, because that's what everyone has to carry. Yeah. And so, you know, he runs my name through 15 different searches, finds out that I have nothing on me or against me.
Which is surprising as well.
Which is a little surprising, which means the NSA hasn't apparently let him know.
He didn't have clearance to see the satellite sitting over your house.
That's right. And so anyways, yeah, he let me go with a warning, but he's like, this would have been a $250 ticket, man.
Ooh.
And I'm like, ooh.
Oh,
you guys know why he pulled me over, right?
Just to search the car.
It was because I was in the middle of nowhere, heading west at 6 p.m. at night, and no one does that without doing something nefarious in that area. And I had out-of-state license plates. Why would anyone be up that far north in South Dakota? So good
police work or constitutional violations?
I'm going to go, unfortunately, with constitutional violation on that.
I would say both.
I'd say Tombstone's probably got the right answer there, because there are things that are good police work that shouldn't be allowed to be done because you have not committed a crime, so you should not be.
So here's the thing. He could have kept following me, okay? And he could have actually legitimately he could have kept following me and legitimately figured out that I was doing something illegal. Okay.
But then he would have had to leave his cozy post on the side of the road.
Well, right, which is where I found him when I left town. And so he easily could have followed me back into the town where I was going and been like, oh, this guy is, not doing illegal things. But that didn't happen. So
it's a lot, just purely practically speaking. If there's anything they can pull you over for, it's a lot easier to get probable cause once you have the car in front of you than it is following a car that knows they're being watched and is following every single traffic law perfectly. So I'm not surprised at all they pulled you over.
Yeah, honestly, neither am I. But yeah, it's just a little frustrating.
Have either of you ever done a ride along?
No, but I'm actually going to try to set one up in the next couple weeks.
Aaron, absolutely do it. Absolutely do it. You will learn a lot. Jeff, you should too if you have time. I know your schedule's busy. But I've done 2, and of course that third time when I was in the back of the car.
Have you done a ride along since then?
No, I don't really have a desire to either. So, but it was very educational. You learn a lot, and obviously, I just ask questions the whole time you're in there, figure out why what's happening is happening, what the thought process is. I think I hate to say this, but again, going back to my episode where I was in jail overnight, a lot of people who are in jail are there because of extremely poor impulse control. Put simply, they're too stupid to stay out of jail.
Oh, yeah.
So the biggest is, so if you're going to stop, so I have not had a stop recently where I actually had a gun in the car. I've been pulled over a couple of times in the last 5 years.
Unfortunately, I've been pulled over twice in the last 3 weeks.
So, but the biggest thing I'm worried about is using my body language, tone of voice, overall demeanor to convince the cop that I'm not going to cause a problem for him. If you can do that in the first 20 seconds of the stop, the rest of the stop is a lot easier. The problem is a lot of people, especially if they're new, and I did this when I was younger, is if you've got a gun in the car and it's your first or your second or your third stop and you're wound a little bit tight, cops can smell that. And they don't know what's causing. They don't know what's causing.
Yeah,
they don't know you're just a guy,
yeah.
Right?
Well, see, look,
you're nervous. You're nervous because you don't want them to interpret you wrong with your firearm. But
so
all they see is nervous.
If I give an example, I had the last 2 times I can think of in recent memory, I've been pulled over while I was working. So in places far away from where I live, once in Georgia, once in Oconee. And, past the cop, I looked down at the speedometer. I realized I'm going too fast. I start slowing down. Cop comes up. As soon as they come around the corner, I'm on the side of the road. I'm pulling over. Don't make them work for it. And then
no, absolutely.
Guy hands up. I gave him 2 state IDs. I won't say what the second one was. I gave him a second state ID so he knew that I was not necessarily a bad guy. And I told him, sorry, I didn't see you. If I had seen you, I'd have slowed down because I blew right past him. So I don't know. I don't like it.
If I had seen the potential to get a ticket, I would have slowed down so I didn't get a ticket.
Well, no, but you see, here's the thing though. This is a cop thing. Cops actually like it when you slow down. They would rather you see them and slow down a lot of the time, not all the time.
True. Yeah,
because that means you're paying attention to what you're doing.
Yeah, and if you're not going crazy over, if you're playing the 5 over game and you see one of them, you tap your brakes. They're not coming after you for that.
Right.
They're coming after the guy that goes by at 80 and keeps going by.
Right. So he was like, this guy was sitting by a bridge in the middle of nowhere, and I blew past him doing 60 in a 45. So yeah, if I'd seen him, I would have slowed down, and he might still have pulled me over, but at least he would know that I was paying attention, which I wasn't. I mean, I was paying attention, but not to him.
So I just want to clarify for the audience. I hold no ill will to these guys who pulled me over. They were absolutely professional, and I. Whatever. I still don't think I did anything to get pulled over, but whatever. That's neither here nor there. They were great guys, very friendly when I left. By the end we were joking with each other. It was a nice exchange.
I will say, in my limited experience, a lot of how a cop treats you depends on how his supervisor is pushing him to do stops. If they're looking for fines, you're probably going to get a fine. If they're looking for what they call contacts, which includes warnings, and you're easy to deal with, you're probably going to get a warning. And that, sadly, like, I really don't like random traffic enforcement. I just don't like it from a constitutional personal perspective. Mm-hmm. But there are good ways and bad ways to do it. Anyways, my 2 cents.
I think there were other ways they could have gone about it to pull me over. Well, as I said, they could have stopped me and followed me to my stop and then questioned me. Who I am and what am I doing. Almost. I would have been more okay with that from a constitutional standpoint. But that's just me.
Yeah,
Jeff, when's the last time you got arrested?
Arrested? Never.
Well, technically,
pulled over?
A stop on the side of the road is an arrest.
Detained. They're not arresting you. They're detaining you.
Right.
Okay. So
I got pulled over for. I got pulled over when I was living in Virginia. So I hadn't been pulled over in years, and I got pulled over twice within a span of about 6 months or so. The first time was speeding, and it was literally a beautiful afternoon. Sunny afternoon.
Always is. Windows down.
So yeah, it was Sunday too. I left my charging cable from my computer at work, and so I had gone
always
the
charging cables. Always.
Exactly. I'd gone into work to get it and was coming back home, and there was a real steep hill by our apartment on the road that you took to get back to the entrance of our apartment. I mean, steep. Like literally, you come from a stop sign, go around the corner, and you just coast down the hill, and it's like a 45-mile-an-hour speed limit there.
You coasted too fast.
You could get up to 60 coasting down the hill. So it's a beautiful day. I'm just sitting there. I knew that a lot of times they like to stake that hill out. I literally am coasting down the hill, not riding my brakes, trying to save myself some money, right? And
of course.
I look up, and the cop's pulling out behind me, and I'm like, oh shoot! And like you said, Tombstone light. I look up. He's kind of following me, but no lights on. The instant the lights come on, I pull over. Same thing. I don't think I was carrying at the time. I don't remember if I was or not. He was really chill about it. Cool. No big deal. He did give me the ticket, though. It must have been the end of the month, and he was meeting quotas. And so I go to whatever, get it reduced. It's all good. Well, like 6 months later, I'm going to play golf with a friend. Same car. We're driving down the road. I look up, and I see a police car coming up behind us. With
same guy.
No. And it's a Charger. It's like an unmarked Charger with the windows all blacked out, but the lights all on.
Yeah.
So I'm in it's a 4-lane road with a left turn lane in the middle, and I'm in the left, and he's coming up pretty quick. So instead of trying to get all the way over to the right across, I pull over into the left turn lane to get out of the way because I'm not speeding. I'm not doing anything. I think this guy's going to a call.
Yeah.
Right. Coming up behind me. So I get over in the left turn lane to get out of his way. He pulls over in the left turn lane behind me.
Oh.
And I'm like, what? And so I'm looking in my rearview mirror at him, and he's pointing like, pick a side. So I pull into this empty parking lot. So he comes up, and he's like, you know why I pulled you over? No. He's like, window tint.
Wait, what?
I'm like, what? And like the windows on my car it's a car I got from my father-in-law. He picked it up down in Florida. They were very darkly tinted. Okay. But I've been living in Virginia for almost 4 years at this point. The guy that pulled me over for speeding didn't say a word about it. You have to have a safety inspection there every year. I've passed the inspection every time. No issues. And so I'm like, what? And he's like, your windows are too dark. He's like, I'm going to check them to see the exact, but he's like, I think they're too dark.
Oh my goodness.
They weren't.
And I was like,
he saw the tinted windows and he profiled you, buddy.
Oh, because I have this little white Saturn. The windows were black. Trust me, they were way too dark.
Yeah.
When he checked them, they were way too dark. But here's the thing:
while black, Jeff.
I said, I guarantee you that's what he thought. To be honest,
I'm sure.
When the window came down and it was two nerdy white guys going to play a round of golf at a really cheap golf course, he was like, "Oh shoot, there's no weed in this car." But
well, you couldn't afford weed.
Exactly. No. So you're going to get me in trouble. You're saying this is not where I wanted to go with this. The point being, he pulled us over. He pulled us over for tint, and it was one of those things where I think it was going to be make a contact and see what else he could find in the car because they a lot of times profile cars with that kind of tint on. And it wasn't what he expected, but he was sticking to his guns on the tint. And I was very polite with him up front, but I also kind of argued back with him about. I was like, I've passed the safety inspection. There's a sticker right there on my car. And he's like, well, they don't check it on the safety inspection. And I said, well, what's the purpose of having a law against tint? Well, for safety. And I was like, so why is it not checked on the inspection?
You seriously had this conversation with him?
Oh, yeah, I seriously had this conversation with him.
I would have just let that go. I would have let it go.
I was extremely frustrated.
It's Jeff. Come on.
I was extremely frustrated because I came to the state. I went through their safety inspections. I went through their plating thing. Like I went to the DMV's website and followed all their nonsense instructions for moving to the state. And nowhere did I see anything about tint laws in the state. And
am I being detained?
You know, I'd interacted with multiple police officers, friends and not friends, and no one had ever said a word about the tint. And this guy pulls me over out of the blue for the tint. It was really frustrating.
Jeff, you should know by now that ignorance of the law is no excuse.
Yeah, well, and here's the thing: when I went and looked up the law after this,
mens rea,
there is all of these exceptions to the law, and literally, like, if it's a truck, if it's an SUV, if it's a utility vehicle, if it has a feature. Oh, trust me, his windows were blacked out like crazy.
But
I asked him, I was like,
crappy Saturns don't make the exception.
Nope, because there was like literally it even said if it has one feature commonly used for off road.
Oh,
so like if I had a Subaru, that's all-wheel drive, I could probably have my windows blacked out.
That's hilarious.
But my Saturn couldn't be. And I did ask him about his windows. I said, if it's a safety thing, I said, I noticed your windows are really dark.
Oh my goodness, Jeff. You just wanted to end up in jail that day.
My buddy was like, we're going to get arrested. I'm like, no, we're not. I was just really frustrated. Another friend of mine that was a state trooper for years, he said when he's saying safety, it's a lot of times they claim it's an officer safety thing,
right?
So
because they don't want you stashing it
in the car during a stop,
and they don't want you pulling a garbage rod out of the back seat like they thought I was going to do during my stop.
Exactly, but what I found ironic is, so it's not safe for them to approach my vehicle because my windows are too dark. So he stopped me and approached my vehicle.
Don't try to be logical.
There's no logic to it. I know it was frustrating.
Cop logic is its own beast, which is why you spent an afternoon.
Yeah, I spent an afternoon removing the tint from those windows. It was a pain. Goo gone and a razor blade. I got it all off.
Left it on.
I went because he gave me the ticket and I had to go down to court.
Oh, that is
so I walked down. So I walked up to my court date with the tint in hand. Peeled off the window
I would
in
have
hand.
Thrown it down
not
on the
even
bench
pictures.
And been like,
no. The minute the judge saw I had the tint with me, she's like, "All right, you're fine." Boom, and tossed it and was done. You took the tint off, you're good. So
ridiculous.
It was fine, but it was just a ridiculous reason to get pulled over.
Zero tolerance for ridiculous laws. Zero tolerance. When we come back, I want to tell you guys about my stay after getting pulled over.
For example, the first thing that we make now, instead of a cuckoo clock, see, this is a poo-poo clock. And what we did see is we took them turds and we crammed them in between the number there, so that's 130, 230, 330. The turds are all local. We just go out and track the moose, and wherever the moose are, they're going to take a crap. And I have found that when a moose takes a dump, you walk about 50 yards in any direction and they take another dump. And when a moose takes a dump, they'll crap out between 200 and 400 turds every time they take a crap. So it's like I get $5 a turd for these things. So I get jumping right up and down. I get excited when I see a turd.
So guys, as I'm dealing with this whole cop issue in South Dakota, before and after, I'm corresponding with Alyssa to find a room up there in South Dakota. And the rooms are few and far between. There's only there's not that many big cities with like food and lodging.
Do you not plan your route and your stops ahead of time?
My route doesn't actually get planned until like a day before we leave. And so literally it's 24 hours. And the question is, will I actually make it to that lodging place that night? Because I'm driving, 1,000 miles in a day, hitting 25 stops during that day and trying.
I don't even understand how you this job must pay amazingly.
It's not humanly possible. I don't want to get into that, Jeff.
Aaron is inhuman.
Jeff, I don't want to talk about that right now.
You're bitter about tax reform
I'm
right
having
now.
a really bad week when it comes to that. I don't know if they're listening. I don't want to give out too much information. It was a bad week. So
gotcha.
So we're trying to find lodging. You know, my hotel, my standard hotel is I'm gonna plug them. It's a My Place hotel. Hotel 8 is pretty nasty. Up in that region.
I've never even heard of this that you're talking about.
So it's a My Place hotel. It's basically a hotel. It's got like a sink and a stove and stuff in it. It's way more than I need for a night's stay, but they have the highest cleanliness ratings. And if you guys remember my my visit to the hotel room where I found bed bugs,
yes,
I am very, very picky when it comes to cleanliness now in a hotel. I'm willing to pay the extra $40 to $50 for a hotel without bed bugs.
Okay,
and so
fair enough.
Unfortunately, Alyssa found the only room available in
had bed bugs.
This
It
city.
just advertised it.
No. She found the only room available in this city, and that was decently clean, but it was $180. Now, this is the same city where, remember I told you the Bates Motel story where I accidentally left my key in the door?
Yeah.
This is over a year ago now that I told this story. And so this is the same city, and so this is the last room, and I really didn't want to go back and stay at the Bates Motel. So
was it? I'm trying to remember. Was it actually called Bates Motel?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't.
Okay.
That'd have been hilarious if it was.
The names have been changed to protect the innocent or the guilty. And so I get this room, and it's a suite. It's the honeymoon suite.
Oh, if only you had your honey with you.
So I'm like, Alyssa, how in the world am I supposed to walk in there and get this room? And so I walk into
just do it.
I walk into the hotel, and I'm like, hey, how's it going? And they like bring up the information, and I hear this, I'm like, my office called in and scheduled a room for the night. She said it was the last room you had available. And she's like, oh, yeah. The honeymoon suite. And she winks. And I'm like, I'm alone.
That's hilarious.
I only need one key.
That's
sure.
And so, you know, I pad my way up there.
What town is this in?
I'm not giving away the name of the town because I don't want to
tell us.
I don't want to give away the name of the other hotel that I have viciously smeared.
Because there's only 2 hotels?
Because, well, there's like 8 hotels. And I just don't want to give away because I don't want to give that away. And so anyways, I get up to the room, and big old king size bed, 42-inch television, and a pink hot tub off to the corner.
Take advantage. Yeah. Was it a heart-shaped hot tub?
Jeff, all I'm going to say is that I spent $180. I was going to get my money's worth out of that room.
No, first, was it a heart-shaped hot tub?
It was not a heart-shaped hot tub.
Oh, okay. And then did you take advantage of the hot tub?
But it was pink.
I totally would have.
It was pink, and I did watch The Martian from the confines of a hot tub. It was amazing. As I'm watching, you know, what's his name? As I'm watching, Matt Damon.
Matt Damon.
As I'm watching Matt Damon pad around on Mars,
grow potatoes and
practically die. I'm sitting in the hot tub eating chicken wings. It was amazing,
Aaron,
Jeff.
I know that your life has struggles, but that sounds like you were living your best life.
I may have been. I had a stack of towels right next to the hot tub, and I'm like, oh yeah. Got my wings in one hand.
Did you get the hot wings delivered to the room, or did you pick them up yourself?
I picked them up before. I could have had them delivered, but I picked them up before because I really didn't want them to, you know, like walk in and see me like in a robe and be like,
that would have
hey.
been awkward on a number of levels.
Or in the hot tub. You know, I leave the door cracked open. Come right in.
Bring them in.
Bring them in.
It'd have been some like teenager.
I was gonna say, is it too soon to call you Harvey? I don't know.
Oh, that's gross. I don't even want to think about that.
It's a good thing you did not do that.
No, it was telling you, I had a great sleep that night, guys. So
did you sleep in the hot tub?
I didn't. I decided against it.
Because I could totally see you falling asleep.
I'm just saying that after 2 hours of The Martian, my fingers were real pruny, and I decided to get out. So the great thing is like I could reach the handle with my foot. So every once in a while, I just kind of kick the hot on during a commercial and then turn it back off. And I'm telling you, it was magical.
Life.
Absolutely magical.
Life. Oh man.
So the next night I pull up to my hotel, same chain, and there's a prison bus sitting there. And it says prisoner transport, do not approach.
Living your best life again.
I get to the front desk and I'm like, I saw the bus out front. I'm not sure if I really want to stay here now. And he goes, Oh, the prisoner transport. He's like, don't worry, guys. Or don't worry, man. The bus drivers stay here overnight because they transport people. And I was like, okay.
Sure. Also rooms 237 through 249 lock from the outside. See back to my former conversation about giving the police officer my concealed weapons license. So yeah. No, it was a good trip. It was a beautiful trip. Unfortunately, they're getting snow this weekend. They were supposed to get 2 to 4 inches of snow. That's crazy. Alyssa, I was watching her out the window here from the beautiful Front Porch Studios in Northeast Nebraska, and she was covering over the garden because we may get frost tonight. So yeah, we've done the same thing here in Michigan.
It's kind of wild. I mean, good grief.
I'm sick of it.
I'm done with winter, man. I'm absolutely
done with winter. The lawn mowed today though, so which has been a fiasco. So you like stories?
Tell me about your mowing fiasco, man.
So I think I told you guys back last fall. I got we bought a house with a good sized lot, and I didn't have a mower.
You're on like a half-acre lot, right?
3/4 acre.
3/4, nice.
And so I didn't have a mower because I previously lived in apartments, and so my brother-in-law had a mower. He had been given an old snapper that had stopped running, supposedly. So they had got a self-propelled push mower and just said, forget it. And so he's like, you can have it if you can
This
make
is
it
that
run.
old snapper that you sent us, right?
Like
that
Forrest
picture
Gump.
with like
exactly
the bicycle.
Yeah, the bicycle type handle.
Dude,
and
that thing's awesome.
Full start mower on the back.
I got it running. My grandpa had one of those.
So I got it running last fall and left it in his shed all winter. So I got it this spring, got it over to the house. So I'm going to try to mow the lawn the other day on a day off that I actually had. So I go out there and I'm like, well, I should probably check out the blades. Like, it was cutting grass last fall, but I'm sure they're terrible. I should check out the blades before I start this and just do this right. So those snappers, if they're empty, you can tip them up on end. They've got those bars on the back of them. You can literally just tip them up on their back end and stand them up and work on them. So I tip it up and try to get to the blade. The blades you can hardly tell what's the front and what's the back of the blade. You only know what the front is because it's got a bunch of dings in it. That's about how you know the blades. Couldn't break them loose. Tried to get a breaker bar, but then the breaker bar didn't fit my sockets, and I'm like bumming a ride off my father-in-law because my car's in the shop. So just this whole day is just not going as planned. So finally I say, forget the blade. I'm going to mow it once with the blade and I'll sharpen them later. Because I couldn't even got to order a replacement blade offline anyways.
Gotcha.
So I put it back. I set it back down. I go to put gas in it and start it, and I go to pull it, and I can't even get it to move. It's like it's like really hard. What in the world?
It's the oil. The oil came up into the cylinder. Well,
I pull, and liquid comes out the exhaust.
Oil.
And it had been sitting outside under a tarp for a few days, and the tarp had blown off once or twice. But I'm like, what in the world? So I check, and it's gas.
Oh man!
And I'm like, shoot. I'm like, did it actually have gas in it when I tipped it up? It shouldn't have, because I ran it dry last fall, and I didn't put anything in before I worked.
No, this is your first mowing. First mowing.
This is first mowing of the spring. Yeah.
And you're about to have snow tonight or tomorrow.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
So I'm looking at it. I'm like, what in the world? So I tear try to pull it a couple more times. It's still pulling hard, and more fluids coming out, more gas is coming out the exhaust. I pull the air box out, the air filter out. There's gas in the air box. I pull the air box off. I get everything drained out. I'm like, I don't know what's going on here, but maybe I flooded it when I tipped it up. Put everything back together, and I drained the gas out of it, put everything back together, put a little gas in to try it again, and the same thing happens again. I see it showing up in the airbox. Well, then I do a little looking online. I think to myself, I wonder if the carburetor float is stuck. Sure enough, pull the carburetor off, tear it apart. The carburetor float got stuck. I tested it with it off the machine. If you tip the carburetor backward and then just tip it right back down without jostling it, it's got a little play in it, and the float sticks on itself. So
when you drop it, you got to hit it with a hammer.
Apparently, yes.
You got to jostle it just right to get it shut.
So I get it all put back together. Put gas in it. It's now working properly. And when I had the carb off, I kept pulling until I got all the gas to come out and everything. I had read online when this happens, you probably should change your oil at this point because gas has probably gotten in there.
More than likely.
I ended up taking 3.5 20-ounce, like the water bottles. Like that's just what I had there to catch the oil. 3.5 of those of gas out of the oil drain.
Oh.
So, yeah, It was a mess. So I flushed some more oil through it, put fresh oil in it, get it running again, and it's running. So I get it out in the front yard. I'm playing with the carb, trying to get the idle just right. It's been running for about 5 minutes. The thing's super loud. And all of a sudden, boom, clang, 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 clang.
Man.
Everywhere. So I shut it off.
What did you do?
I don't know if I dropped a valve or threw a rod, or if our mutual friend Jeff, that another Jeff, he said I might have just run, because of everything, the gas running all through it. It might have just run the top end of the piston dry, and it may still be okay. But basically, it was like, all right, I've put way too much time in this stupid free mower. I just need to go get a real mower. So I hit up Craigslist. I'm looking around for a day or two. I had a line on a nice Toro zero turn, but another guy beat me to it by like 5 minutes.
I hate that.
So I went out and I got a good tractor mower, a good Husqvarna with a good Kohler engine, and
at least you got a good Husqvarna. Mine's not running right now.
Really?
No, mine. Remember from last year? Mine's still down.
Oh, that's
remember
right.
I ran it without the air filter. We've been mowing this year with the with a little old rotary mower.
But did you actually put the air filter on it?
Oh yeah. Got an air filter. Remember, I picked up the pushable weed trimmer with the giant whip on the front. That thing works like a charm. But Alyssa found in one of the barns an old rotary mower, and so she's been mowing with that.
Just literally like the old fashioned. You push it and the blade
spins. Oh yeah.
Man, you're going old school. Now
so
my wife did throw out the idea of just getting a goat and putting it in the backyard,
like that idea,
which was on my list of options.
I was gifted a mower that is 1 year older than I am.
I was going to say a riding mower, though, Tombstone. You are on like a quarter-acre lot with a riding lawnmower. You are living the dream, my friend.
Well, I have an acre lot. I have an acre lot, and about half of it is grass.
That's a dream, though. That's excellent.
But see, depending on how your lot's laid out, a tractor mower sucks on a small lot.
It can,
because they're not good at backing up and turning.
My lot is in 3 sections, and I can do it. There is one section that requires a little bit of backage, but it takes me about 3 minutes to finish. The rest of it I can do without stopping.
Something I found interesting about this Husqvarna, it's not a hydrostatic. I used for a while when I did my church lawn when I was younger. We had a John Deere that was hydrostatic, where you just step on a pedal and it goes forward, and you step on a reverse pedal and it goes backward. This isn't that, but it says it's an automatic. Basically, instead of having like different gears to click into, where you have to stop and change gears, you can adjust the speed of the drive, just sliding the handle up and down.
So,
buddy, we probably have the same mower then.
My dad just bought a Cub Cadet, and it's just like that.
Yeah, and you can mow in reverse, which that stupid John Deere had a safety where you could not go into reverse with the blade with the PTO on. Yeah, it would kill the PTO when you backed up. But
disable that.
And so this is at least much nicer than that John Deere I used.
Who needs safety equipment?
Exactly. Oh, when you run the commercial zero turns, the very first thing you do is bungee up the little stupid chute on the side of it so that you can get closer to stuff.
It's like mine when I get off of it, it shuts off the motor, and I'm like, what in the world? I'm trying to work here. Well, I don't want that to happen.
If you disengage the PTO and set the parking brake, it'll still run.
Oh, really? Well, that's good to know.
So I had to stop and pick up sticks. If I just shut the PTO off, set the parking brake, idle it down if I wanted to idle it down.
Unfortunately,
but it'll run with the parking brake set. in neutral without it.
Unfortunately, my bigger issue is getting the engine running right. So that ain't happening. You mentioned goats. Did I tell you guys we're doing the chicken thing?
Well, that's
what
goats,
chicken
but
thing?
yeah, I think
you're getting
chickens.
We have chickens. We have 11 chickens.
Whoa!
Do you
what kind
eat
of chickens?
them, or do you just get eggs from them?
We are going to get eggs from them. They came as little babies. You know,
they usually do.
Little tiny little peeps. And Myron has been raising them,
rotting.
And we are using.
Stores,
well,
sure.
no, that doesn't rot. It's just like cockroaches and Twinkies. They never go bad. They
What never goes bad?
Peeps. Peeps never go bad.
Oh.
Yeah, peeps.
I mean, there's nothing to them.
Most people that I know prefer stale peeps.
Yeah.
I don't like peeps.
So my pastor likes to have them like a year later.
I don't.
It's really weird.
There's too much sugar even for me.
Oh yeah, I can't eat them because of the sugar. But no, so we picked up 10 chickens or 11 chickens because Myron had to have a white rooster. And so he's going to have a rude awakening when he learns that rooster isn't very friendly. But he's got one. So we have some Rhode Island Reds, I think a Barred Rock, and a couple other weird ones. Americanas. They lay the blue eggs.
He's got a that's called a robin.
Called an Araucana chicken, man. They lay pink and red eggs.
That's weird.
Yeah, man.
I've seen brown eggs. I've never seen pink and red eggs.
That's because you eat
or blue eggs.
That's because they actually produce better. Like the
pink
brown...
and blue eggs.
No.
So is it like if it's going to be a rooster, it's blue, and if it's,
that would be incredible.
Chicken, it's pink. Or
Jeff, that would be gender profiling, and my chickens don't do that.
I just profiled your chickens.
They don't label genders.
So that rooster's sitting? Is that what you're saying?
He might be.
We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other thing. Not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best.
The essence of the American character is to explore new horizons and to tame new frontiers. We must have American dominance in space. Very importantly, I'm hereby directing the Department of Defense and Pentagon to immediately begin the process necessary to establish a Space Force as the 6th branch of the armed forces.
And here it is. Here it is. Wait for it. Wait for it. The beat's gonna drop. Aw, yeah.
I feel like we need to trim that intro down.
So I was good. I was trying to snag it after Kennedy delivered that beautiful initial speech there. And I missed it. So I apologize. Jeff, you're not coming through. I'm not sure what's up with Jeff.
He muted himself.
I mean, if he didn't mute himself, it would have been fine.
I'm back. So the timing on Trump's, like his cadence there is just so slow. But, but the Space Force, it's a quality intro. It's a quality intro.
It's quality.
Oh yeah, there's nothing wrong with the intro itself. It just needs to be shaved.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like my legs.
You ever done that, Tombstone?
No, never had the urge. Although now that I'm a competitive bicyclist again, I probably should.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
I'm planning on doing a race at the end of this month.
How's that going to work out for you?
I don't know. Hopefully well, because I'm pretty fat right now.
I mean, you got
fat.
three days left of the month, so.
Sorry, end of May, not end of April.
I was going to say, man,
don't be
you're in big
I think
trouble.
I'm going to start training tomorrow, and
yeah, I mean, I could do one today. It would just really be terrible,
hurt really bad. So space, guys.
Yes, we love space.
The Apollo 10 lunar module been found?
I didn't know it was missing.
I don't know it was missing either.
So this was.
I assume it's still on the moon, not somewhere on Earth.
Yeah. So this is still actually orbiting the moon at 50,000 feet above the moon's surface,
which is not that high.
No, it's not. But I guess in comparison to the size of the moon, it is pretty big, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, because the moon's
all
a lot
relative.
smaller.
Moon is pretty small. So remember that Apollo 11 was the actual moon landing. Apollo 10 was what you could call the dress rehearsal.
Right, and they left it there.
And so they actually left it in orbit.
Which is a really big problem for space.
And so this was the lander
denials.
module. They basically got up there,
they basically
were
just cut it
circling
loose.
it, and then cut the lander module loose without actually going to the surface because everything else worked.
Yes. Yeah. So they cut that loose, and then obviously headed back to Earth. And yeah, they 50 years later, and they think they've actually found it, which is crazy, absolutely crazy. So Tom Stafford was a member of the crew, and he radioed back to Houston from his own orbit around the moon that the crew had completely lost sight of it after they jettisoned it from their command module. And then they came back to Earth, landed, and everything was good. And then they took off again, Apollo 11.
Interesting.
I wish we were still doing that fun stuff, guys. As I was
We're
sitting
doing a lot of fun stuff that nobody knows about.
As I was sitting in the hot tub watching The Martian the other night, which
is a great movie, by the way.
It was. So little weird random thing. They're sitting in the room there, right? And they're trying to come up with a name for the mission or something for the next mission. And they're sitting there with Sean Bean and another guy.
I don't think they're trying to come up with a name for it.
Well,
anyway.
they said, I want it called such and such, I guess is what Sean Bean said. And the other guy's like, yeah, and I want it called something else. And the woman goes, why do you guys always make Lord of the Rings references?
I do not remember that.
Yeah, man. It was there.
Scene.
It was
and
there.
I just rewatched the movie recently.
I don't know. I watched it Monday night, Tuesday night. Which is funny,
obviously, with Sean Bean. So two funny things. The Lord of the Rings reference was Sean Bean, and the fact that Sean Bean doesn't die in this movie. This might
that is a good point.
The only movie he's in that he doesn't get killed in.
His career almost died, though.
So there you go. Maybe they're just doing that kind of play on things.
Yeah, I mean they played it off as his yeah. No, anyways, I thought that was clever. I thought it was a nice throw in there. I'll try to find that for you. Let's go to an Oxford professor though. Oxford University, Jeff.
So I Googled this as you guys talked about the Google machine and Wikipedia last week. You guys, I listened to the show while mowing my lawn.
Yes.
I don't know if I said that, but I listened to it while mowing my lawn. And you guys got me to laugh out loud a few times. I did enjoy it. I found myself wanting to respond to your chicanery at times.
Yes.
And unfortunately, I could only yell it at the mower. But as Tombstone laments, the Google sent me to a sketchy website. The Express. Okay, I don't know. Let me just say the article about an Oxford professor saying that aliens are here and breeding with humans. Here are the 4 top articles on the side next to it. 1, End of the World 2019, apocalypse to begin this year, shock claim. 2, End of the World, Jerusalem Third Temple fulfills biblical prophecy of the end times. 3, Nostradamus 2019 prediction, Donald Trump assassination, war and hard Brexit.
There's no
4,
doubt, Jeff.
Baba Vanga 219 predictions, shock claims of cataclysm, end of the world, and global crisis. And the 5th one, a time traveling professor.
There is no doubt that those websites will pick up on this story because of the topic. However, this is in the Oxford Student.
We don't even know if this is real.
This is Oxford Student newspaper, guys, from University of Oxford.
Okay.
I'm citing them.
I prefer Florida man stories.
Dr. Chi, Young Hai Chi, he claims that aliens share our biosphere and are acting to overcome the effects of climate change. I'm telling you guys, they would not put that in there if this was a bogus article.
They're acting to overcome climate change because that's what an invading force does, is save you.
Yep, exactly. So I'm telling you, I know this article is not a Babylon Bee or an Onion article because of that comment. Apparently, he outlined this in a 2012 art lecture and has since written a book. And he actually proposed a debate on the subject, which was not accepted, shockingly. So yeah, he gave a lecture at the Amash conference titled "Alien Abduction and the Environmental Crisis," where he outlines his theory concerning the presence of aliens on Earth. He began his lecture with a statement, "Perhaps human civilization is coming to an end," then delivered a 55-minute presentation where he cites Dr. David Jacobs, an abduction researcher. Guys, I'm just going to stop this right here. When did Oxford stoop to this low?
Yeah, you guys were talking about tenure last week. And I do think it's a good thing. It's a good thing when colleges were supposed to be a bastion of interchange of ideas, and you could bring up your ideas without fear of retribution. Now that they're these like safe place zones of no free speech, I don't know.
This seems like it's become a bastion of insanity.
This guy might need to lose his tenure.
Dr. Chi believes that there are 4 types of aliens: small, tall and bold, aliens with scales and snake eyes, which we already knew that, those are the reptilians, of course.
Wait.
And then the insect-like aliens.
So basically, this guy just described all the aliens from Halo. You've got the elites, which are tall and bold. You've got the little grunts. You've got the insect-like flying ones.
I want to know if this guy's been on Coast to Coast, because he must have been.
I think the odds of that are not zero. They're more than zero.
Can we get a check on that? Has he been on Coast to Coast AM?
They come for their own. He said, so they come not for the sake of us, but for the sake of their own, but for the sake of them, their survival. But their survival is actually our survival as well, the survival of the entire biosphere.
What does that even mean? Why?
So first off, if they're escaping their planet, what did they do? Pollute their planet? Second of all, who says they live in the same atmosphere as us? This is just.
I know.
This is where I progressed in developing my theory, and I'm still looking for more evidence to support my view. You keep looking.
I'm afraid he's going to be looking for a long time, despite the possibility that there may be life out there. I think he's off his rocker, guys.
Yeah, this guy's nuts. And then he ties it to climate change, which just
wouldn't be the first person to have a unifying theory of aliens and climate change.
Guys, he did not write his book in English, though. He wrote it in Korean.
So?
I'm just saying that typically scholarly productions are made in a common language. Typically.
You racist.
Typically.
That's racist.
I'm just saying, guys. He's a professor at Oxford's Oriental Institute.
Yeah, this is weird.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
So, since we're on the weird stuff, and we probably only have a few minutes left, we're down the rabbit hole at this point.
Let's go. Let's continue.
I occasionally, when I'm bored, I'll start out with some of the like normal little things I watch on YouTube, and then I will just this suggestion off to the side, and then this one, and then I'll start down a rabbit hole. And somehow from hunting videos, it got off onto
Flat Earth?
Bigfoot videos.
Oh, Bigfoot
videos.
Ooh.
So what's your guys's? We've probably talked about this some, but there was actually a very interesting story that a guy read that's out of a book that Teddy Roosevelt wrote, sharing a story that Teddy Roosevelt heard from some old trapper about a Bigfoot encounter. Or, it's not called Bigfoot in the book, but an encounter with a strange beast.
Cryptozoology.
What? So what do you guys think? Weird, undiscovered, bipedal, ape-like species somewhere out there in the woods of northwestern Canada or the U.S.?
I'm saying it's possible. You were on the show the night we talked about the Tasmanian tiger, right?
Yeah.
The weird marsupial.
And how they've come back.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying
they were thought extinct, and now
there's things around that I think we haven't found yet. I mean, we find new species every year.
Tombstone's not interesting, but something that big.
I think I don't know. I think the only thing that's possible that's out there we haven't found is maybe something in the water. On land, maybe. I don't know. I mean, we find new species all the time. We haven't found anything truly strange recently.
See, I don't know if I agree with you on that, Tombstone, though.
Which part do you not agree with that I said that was perfectly
like something's
factual?
not strange?
We've found weird things.
We haven't found anything that would be traditionally considered a cryptozoological.
Okay.
Sasquatch. Like nobody's come up with a complete Sasquatch skeleton somewhere.
Yeah,
true.
Which is a big problem I have with their existence. Is there's literally no evidence except shaky videos that always get debunked.
So yeah, I mean, we don't even have bones or anything,
right?
Which means, of course, they bury their dead, guys.
Then you'd find bones if they bury their dead.
They hide them in disclosed locations because they have organized burials. I would love to get on a Bigfoot hunter. I'm going to look into that. Because that would just be amazing.
It's an interesting rabbit hole because you have everything from. I've watched a few stories from guys who are like hunters and stuff out in the woods. This was up in Canada, and like if you're going into it with an open mind, you look at it and you go, that seems like a pretty believable story. What reason does this guy have to lie about this story?
Yeah.
Of these weird encounters. And so you have some of these stories that are like semi-believable. Some are like, it could be mistaken for another animal. Some are like, that's interesting. Who knows? And then you've got the like insane stories that are totally unbelievable. You know, it's funny that they run the gamut of, this is kind of interesting to these people are insane, you know?
I don't know. I mean, to Tombstone's point, we're not finding any weird new things, right?
Not that we know of.
We are finding a lot of reptiles. We're finding different birds.
Yep.
Lots of insects. Lots of things in the ocean, to Tombstone's point.
Yeah, I'm sure there's stuff in the ocean. I'm sure there's stuff in the deepest, darkest parts of the jungle in Africa that haven't been classified yet that are out there.
See, I mean, look, Africa in the Congo. There's legend of dinosaurs still in the Congo.
Yeah, like brontosaurus or something still kind of hanging out there.
Yeah, which
you think that's possible? Because that would be pretty sweet.
That'd be pretty sweet, but it'd be pretty weird. I just don't think that's possible. I don't think something that big could go unnoticed for such a long time. Something like that.
I agree.
But I
agree.
Things like the Tasmanian tiger, remote places in Colombia that literally no one has ever been to. I think there's probably stuff in there. Different species of monkeys or tigers and stuff that we've never seen because they're in like their own little ecosystem nestled into a mountain.
But that's all just like different versions of things we already know. So that's kind of where that.
Oh yeah, like are we gonna find some new 6-legged mammal? No, probably not. Which would be cool, super weird, but kind of cool if you're weird like us. Guys, we've burned another 2 hours. We made it. We hope you enjoyed the show today.
We know how to waste time.
That's right. Really waste time? I don't know. We enjoy our time together.
We enjoy our time. I don't know that we use it efficiently, but
no.
We have lost Tombstone, man. I can see him.
Here.
He is
Tombstone's down an amazing rabbit hole right now.
He is just in another world.
Give us a tidbit of what rabbit hole you're down. We don't need to talk about it. Just give us a.
I'm looking at a picture of a lady who was buried 9,000 years ago in Greece. And they've done a facial reconstruction, and it is fascinating.
Interesting.
I'll send it to you.
Okay, cool. Appreciate it.
Guys, the rabbit holes that he gets down.
Guys, until next time, check us out on thefrontporchshow.com, www.thefrontporchshow.com. Check us out on Facebook. Check us out on Twitter, Instagram, all the fun places where you'll see pictures of me maybe in a hot tub. I don't know if I took one in the hot tub. Did I? Have to look. We'll see.
I don't know that I want to see that, but
we'll see. Maybe you'll see.
Look me up, Aaron.